What if there was a lens that could rival the Sony 40mm G for less than a third of the price? That's exactly what Viltrox is trying to achieve with this new 40mm f2.5 autofocus lens for the Sony E-mount. Offering a full-frame autofocus prime lens for less than $170 is a bold move, and I can't help but thinking, is there, and if so, where is the catch? After using it for about a month, I can tell you that it's a pretty awesome lens for the price, and if you have been thinking of getting the Sony but have been put off by the price tag, opting for this Viltrox cheaper alternative is a no-brainer. Before we dive into what I like and what I dislike about this lens, I just want to mention that Viltrox provided it to me, but they have nothing to say about what I show and say in this video. And in fact, I approached them because I was intrigued by the lens and thought that it could be a great alternative for those of us who can't justify the price of the Sony, especially since I already own two 35mm primes and 35 and 40 are so close. I've been very happy with another Viltrox lens I own, so I like what they are making, and I wanted to see if this 40mm could be good enough to battle and be a perfect cheaper alternative to the Sony 40mm G lens. As usual, I will show plenty of real-life photo examples and some footage I capture through the lens. While I won't be zooming in on brick walls at 400%, I do want to talk about sharpness because I think it's important. The first and most obvious thing I like about this lens is the price point. Getting a full-frame autofocus lens for under $170 is pretty incredible. Even Sony's Nifty 50, the 50mm f1.8 is more expensive than that, and I'd say that the Viltrox build quality feels a bit more premium than the Sony lens. So in this example we have a third-party lens that feels a bit more premium than a Sony native one. Now let's talk sharpness, and you hear this all the time on this platform. I'm not a pixel peeper, but I think I am a bit of a pixel peeper, and we all are. I don't care about how sharp a lens is when zoomed in at 400%, since I know I won't be using my photos that way, but sharpness does play a role in creating micro contrast, that crispiness in photos viewed at a normal distance. In my opinion, sharpness is important even when you're not zoomed in, and the Viltrox 40mm really surprised me in this area. For this price point, offering such a sharp lens is impressive, and you won't feel like you're missing out on more premium and more expensive options. Another thing I like about this lens is the color reproduction, and similar to my first Viltrox lens, this one also adds a subtle warmth into the already warm tones like oranges, reds and yellows. They come out with a bit more saturation and a bit more punch. Overall the colors are accurate and easy to work with in post-production. When it comes to autofocus, I had an absolutely flawless experience. I used it in standard focus mode as well as for tracking humans and animals, and it worked perfectly. The autofocus is fast and accurate. I guess the lens is already pretty good at autofocusing, and when paired to Sony camera bodies that are so good with autofocus, we have a perfect combination to have absolutely no problem and gives no frustrations at all when it comes to focusing. You probably know that I'm all in for compact and lightweight camera gear, and this lens fits right into this category. It's super light and super compact, perfect for these long shooting days. It also fits nicely in any sort of camera bag, so you have no excuses not to take your camera with you and shoot more photos. In some ways, this Viltrox 40mm reminds me of the Samyang 35mm f2.8 I used a while back when I wanted to improve and increase my photography productivity and commit to the 35mm focal length. The Viltrox is similarly cheap, light and offers great value for money. I used the Samyang for over a year, took some of my favorite photos with it, and once I knew I loved the 35mm focal length, I upgraded to the Sony Zeiss 35mm f2.8. I think this Viltrox 40mm could serve the same purpose. Use it for a year or two, and if you find that 40mm becomes one of your go-to focal lengths, you can always upgrade to the Sony G lens. I like this angle because we have two complementary subjects. We have this row of boats here, which would be more like a first and main subject, and we have the little boat here on the right side that complements the other one. I think it works well together. They are not clashing each other too much, and it fills the frame here. Nothing too special here. I came to Miyajima pretty early in the morning, so it's still 8:10, so we have some nice light coming at an angle, and we have this fence, barrier, whatever you call it, that creates patterns both from the fence itself and from the shadow here. And yeah, I like the light, the texture of it, and we have some sort of a vanishing point here, so looks quite good. Now let's move on to what I didn't like as much and some of the limitations. And similarly to the Samyang, this Viltrox lens struggles a little bit with flare and ghosting. It's not terrible, and it's definitely better than the Samyang, but if the sun is hitting the corner or edges of your frame, you might end up with some flare or ghosting. Personally, I don't mind a little bit of flare in my photos, and in some situations it can even look nice, and the good thing with this lens is that the flare is quite predictable, so you can know how it will behave depending on the sun's position and how you move your camera. What I like less is ghosting, which reduces a lot the contrast in your frame, almost as if there was a filter over the image, turning darker areas into a grey mush. The lens comes with a lens hood that doesn't really help, but again, I took some of my favorite images with the Samyang 35mm, which had worse flare and ghosting issues. Another downside is that the lens doesn't have water sealing. There is no rubber gasket around the mount, so you'll need to be careful if you plan on shooting in the rain or other extreme conditions. After using the lens, and specifically the 40mm focal length, for about a month, I can really see why it's gaining in popularity and why everyone loves it. It has everything I like about the 35mm focal length, a very neutral, natural look that is perfect for documenting your everyday life, shooting street photography and travel. It's also good for contextual portraits and plenty other situations. Like the 35mm, 40 gives you all of that, but with a slightly tighter field of view, making it easier to eliminate some distractions around your subject and around the edges of your frame. This makes it a bit easier to compose nice and clean images, so I think that this Viltrox 40mm is a perfect lens for beginners and for those new to the 35-40mm focal lengths. So in short, it's cheap, it delivers good image quality, and the focal length is great for learning composition. It's wide enough so you have to work your composition to create something that makes sense without being too wide, and it doesn't have any visual tricks like the ultra wide or telephoto lenses. 40mm is just tight enough so composing becomes a little bit easier than with a 35, so it's a great lens to help you keep shooting, not feeling discouraged, and improve. Before wrapping this up, I want to quickly share a message from the sponsor of this video, which is myself. On my website, I'm selling high quality Lightroom presets. In my latest pack, there are 8 colors and 3 black and white premium styles that you can elevate your photos in one click. I've been using them myself for months to edit the pictures you see in these videos and other online platforms. The returns I got from a lot of you who already got the pack has been extremely positive, and I'm super grateful for that. On my website, you can also find LUTs and digital zines, which are the best way to support me and the channel at an affordable price. So if you want high quality presets compatible with Lightroom Classic and Lightroom Mobile, or you simply want to support the channel, head over to my website. That would mean the world to me, and it helps making these videos even higher quality and more interesting to watch. So I think that's all I wanted to say. Thanks a lot for watching, and we catch up in the next one. Bye.